Hello, hi. Welcome to your favorite Makoti podcast, Makoti Unveiled. I'm your host, the resident Makoti, Siya. Now, on Makoti Unveiled, we cover everything relating to Makoti, and this week we're covering a very heavy topic. Now, when people get married, they say, in sickness and in health, for richer, for poorer, till death do us part. Today, we're talking to women who have lost their husbands. Bohlukaniswe kukufa. We are joined by Nonhlanhla Mhlongo and we are joined by Dr. Mmasechaba Shai. Is there a better end of the stick? Is it better to lose your part? And as I'm saying it, it sounds stupid, ne? But please
No,
bear
I
with
hear
me.
you what you're saying.
Is it better to lose him instantly like that?
It's the worst pain.
Or is it better to go through that grief? Does it prepare you before he even passes? The fact that you are having to clean him up, the fact that you are having to feed him, the fact that you're having to help him up when he has to eat, those kind of things. And I realize that
I'll tell you.
it's a double-edged sword.
I'll tell you something. I think situations are different, but pain of death is pain. There is no salt, there is no sugar in it. Whether she took care of him, whether he just died instantly, it's just like an accident. Death is painful. I was angry that this man died very healthy. He had no diabetes, he had no sickness. He was scared of being sick. This man had a lot of medication. This man was on supplements all the time. He was healthy. And I'm thinking, why didn't at least he donate his organs? Because no, but I'm thinking that you can do that. You can say, when I'm gone, let them take this and give to the people that would need it. I think my anger was, how do you do that to your kids? How do you do that to your grandkids?
Did you ever think he did not love you enough?
I
You,
yes.
By you I mean you yourself, when his wife, his children and grandchildren, that he didn't love you enough to fight
hold on
or go through this battle. There was the social media trolling, all of that was happening. He did not love you enough to bear, to begezela through that. But because obviously things on social media pass. Today this thing is trending. Next week, we've forgotten. Now we're talking about something else. Do you think? Did you at any point think, maybe he didn't love us enough?
I think it was too heavy for him. It was the first time that he's something like that is so embarrassing, exposed like that. And I think he was a very proud man that he just didn't see the light. Even though we were there, even though I was there, my kids are there, they love him, our grandkids are there. I think he didn't think that tomorrow it will be over, it will be someone else talking about. My friend Tebogo's husband got sick. After a year, they remarried, and then he passed on. And I said, I think God gave you a chance to take care of him, to prepare you. I was not prepared. And there was never a question of, or somebody saying, how are you, Mmasechaba? After seeing that. And his face, I can still see his face, even today. I can still remember his voice when he walked out and said, Sharp Ntwana. I can still remember that. So pain of death is painful. And pain of losing your partner is more painful. It is more painful. There is no softer way. There is no easier way. There is no better way. Anyhow you lose him, it's painful. It is painful. I don't know. I'm sure you can answer that.
I think it's a question that you actually asked me when I arrived. And listen, when Rato actually told me that Mom Shai is going to be here, I remember that when the passing Gababa happened, I was favorite actor, I was shattered, not knowing that very soon, I'm joining the queue. God, I've realized something in my journey of the year that I've been grieving my husband. There's no better pain. I hlukanga, I've met some abati ngishadile. I told you about one that passed ushade 3 weeks ago. She's a widow now. There's one that I met bekuzolotsholwa. Umyeni wakhe washona on the way kuzolotsholwa. You understand?
Yes.
So you can't say kulo muntu hayi wena at least bungayihambanga 6 years naye uyabona uzokhala nje ukuthi build memories uyabona like ipain yokushonela ipain yokushonela yes ahlukile iphinde futhi ngiyasho ngithi iphinde bebhlungu mhlawumbe makuthiwa njengoma umthole elenga you understand ngimongile mina uNjomani from December kwaze kwaba uFebruary lo ngimonga kodwa kusalayo ukuthi we are sitting in the same chair right now we are widows you understand ubhlungu bethu buyafana mina naye singahlala sixoxe ngento eyodwa ngoba sashonelwa it's different ukushona kwabayeni bethu kodwa okusalayo leyo pain leyo iyona you know.
Now I need to ask you ladies and I've had conversations with both of you about this Comfortable black sis don't be out of the house past 6 don't laugh because clearly if you laugh nguwe
you're happy
you are happy that he's gone when you are using his bank card usebenzisa imali kabhuti
when you're even driving
driving his car talk to us about how society and every time I speak about widows I always refer to Ayanda Ncwane when she told the story of how she had just lost Usfiso and she was boarding a plane. Yes. And you know how in an airplane there's seat number 12 A, B, C.
Yeah.
And so she was supposed to sit wherever and in this row she was supposed to sit next to this man. And he refused because we only wear the black outfit, the dog, the cape, the what. And he was like angeke ngihlale ecaleni komuntu onesinyama. Talk to us about the way society suddenly treats you when they know you've lost a husband.
With me, I think I experienced that even before I started going out and I didn't wear all black. I just said I don't want all black. I asked for ke kenye dishweshu, you know. So I would wear a duke and go. So people didn't even know. Some people that don't know me that this is Iro. But the experience of other women, they would say if they get into a taxi and they have to pay, people would say, put it here next to the driver's seat.
But in the taxi, we pass money to each other. But you can't give it to
a person. So if you give it to her, you are transferring death from whatever. I don't know how they interpret those things. I've heard those stories that you don't give a person money like this in a taxi. If you're a widow, you have to put it somewhere. Maybe when you walk in,
even at a till at a shop.
Yeah, so you have to put it somewhere. You know, I don't know how these things work. You know, when I grew up, I knew that when you are wearing black, you are just treated differently. You are treated differently. People would not greet you. You cannot visit people. They must invite you. And when you come to their gate, they must open for you. You don't just walk in. So for almost 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, I didn't visit anyone because I didn't want to now start asking, can I? You know, so I stopped. I didn't go anywhere. The only place that I would go and freely was my sister. And my sister is also a widow for years. So in terms of friends and other people and church, I had stopped going to church. I stopped visiting. I stopped attending certain things. If I'm invited to an event somewhere, I would go there. It's fine. It's not someone's home. But you cannot go anywhere and just be free as a widow. You know, so.
And for you, Nonhlanhla?
Sure. You know, you touched a nerve. So, I wanted to obviously wear black for me and mom, you know. Obviously, asking Zulu to uqoka for 3 years. But abakanjomani sat with me and they said, listen, asikufasi ngalutho. Kuzoba kuwena ukuthi wenza kanjani. So I chose ukuthi ngizogqoka black for the 3 months and then ngikhumuleke. Remember, I'll state again, I'm a Christian. In my head, angifakile indaba yokuthi ngizogeza ngembuzi nani ngifake ngitshela nje ukuthi I'm just grieving or I'm mourning for the 3 months leyo. Got the treatment that I got, and I'm speaking from colleagues. and I'm talking from general people in public. It was very painful. Ngikhuluma nawe nje, I remember kwaba a gentleman wathi mina ngingakhuluma ngimbheke emehlweni. Made ngibheke phansi eheni. I must just look down and not face ngimbheke. Yes. And I remember kuno mama, you know, it was a weird interaction actually. I went to these offices and then etik mina, oh my child, awusemncane ushonelwe bakithi ufunani manje la. I could not respond. Immediately I remember that I just felt my throat closing up, you know, and I went back to the car. Azange sayithenga lento bengizoyithenga, ngabuyela emuva ngahamba.
Outcast.
And the calls also ukuthi ilanga lingakushoneli phela estradini sis. So I would make sure ukuthi well, thank God for environment engisebenza kuyona whereby ngingena ngo 7:30 ngo 3:00 ngiyashayisa. So I would knock off ngami ngikholitha ingane esikoleni by 5 ngisendlini.
Yeah.
By 5 ngisendlini. And you know, iba buhlungu as well when you meet wives. And I'm talking about guys, widows go through a lot. Ngicela ukutshela. Omunye ethi wena ungamfonela umyeni wami, or omunye yes, omunye ethi umyeni wakhe angizwisisi ukuthi yini into exoxa noNonhlanhla lengaka. Yes,
you become a threat.
You become a threat to Sami.
But you were speaking to this guy a month ago. Before your husband died.
Cha Sami ushela ungashongo lutho.
You are friends. You are friends as couples.
Yeah.
Ne? And your husband dies. Friendship is over.
In the couple group.
Yes. In the couple group. You are a threat to these women because now you are single. And these men are also uncomfortable. You need their help, ne? To come and fix, maybe change a tire. Now you're going to call your friend. They will never come. Some woman said, I waited for my friend's husband to come and help me. She ended up teaching herself how to change a tire. So things change. You lose friends. Yeah. You lose family. Because first of all, you killed your husband, which is whether he's in an accident or he hanged himself.
But or he was sick.
Yeah. And with me, it was people now coming in and say, oh, by the way, you know, insurances are not going to pay because he hanged himself. And I said, oh, yes, yeah, I heard so, you know. And I kept quiet.
Uma is right. So and I just tell you, I can count for you the friendships that I'm left with.
Yeah. You lose
ever since my husband passed. I can tell you. So my husband and I loved hosting. We enjoyed having couples over for dinner and whatnot. Can I just tell you that no longer happens?
Yes.
Gine family eyodwa, or rather, yeah, eyodwa that consistently has been in my home ever since my husband passed, which is the close friend Lungilangayo Lazarus. Banonkosikazi wakhe. They come, they fellowship with us, they have dinner with us. Just this past weekend, we were out at the zoo. They have been literally taking care of me and my boys. You understand? But there are friendships, Stano-sam, that have diffused, that are no longer existent.
Yeah.
And omunye uhlangana nawe ethi, I feel bad, ngagcina kwakho ngomncwabo kanjomani. So some I ask, why do you feel bad? A year later.
Also, how are you supposed to respond when somebody says
understand.
that? What is the expectation?
Yes. So friendships, they disappear. Yeah. Couples that you used to fellowship with, I say fellowship. It goes, it disappears. Omunye uthumawhlangana naye athi bengazi ukuthi ngithini kuwena. Yazi ukuthi sometimes asidingi ukuthi usho lutho. Sidinga nje ukuthi uhlale la uthule uthi now manzi and hug me and that's it. Kodwa let me tell you, widowhood is the most loneliest journey that you can walk as an individual, because literally you walk it alone. Akunamuntu who comes to your aid. And omunye uthi hey ngifila bad ukuthi ngimane ngivele nje ngingaphathelanga ingane lutho. Kodwa ngisho ukuthi silambile mos neingane. I'm not trying to say ukuthi kuphuma ama million, but I'm trying to say to you ukuthi your presence in my home are enough. But that does not happen. You understand? You lose all sorts of friendship. And umanje ngoba sho ukuthi omunye walinda lalela mina ingane zami zadonsa i-catting rail. Yangizokuthi ngithini? Ngacabanga yeye manje ukuthi ngizofonela bani. Ngayibuza ukuthi okay ngizofonela bani. What do I do? I asked a neighbor angincede ngafaka i-slow tape i-lace. Ngathi ngicela angincede sifake i-slow tape ngakusasa usise engihlala nayo amadithunya wathi ngimenge nakita khona kuyilukisa wayilungisa ngoba siyasaba ukufona ngoba phela ufonela umyeni wami ebusuku wena.
Kaloku wena una indoda.
Kaloku wena una indoda sana.
Ufonela le yami.
Yes. So you become a threat. You become a threat. And I mean, the part of wearing black, it was painful. A colleague, no, my laptop had crashed. So a document. What so angazibhela ukuthi mhlambe kodwa
is it transferable bakithi?
Kusho ukuthi phela in the black society
in the black society I think they think it's transferable. And I think in my journey then I realized that besides the treatment that you get, which is something that has been going on for decades, right? A lot of women that are in the marriages and are happy and they just don't realize that tomorrow your life can be altered, you know, and you are unemployed, you're unskilled, uneducated, and all of those. So when I grouped these women, I said, you need to start working.
Yeah.
You need to have a skill. You cannot be married, yes, happy. This man says, I don't want my wife to work, but you need to have a skill of some sort. Because if he goes tomorrow, which you don't know, remember tomorrow is not guaranteed. You're going to be someone who doesn't know how to pay accounts, how to do things, because the husband was doing so many things for you.
Yeah.
And people are unemployed. Kids have to go to school. You know, that's the sad part of it, because you've got to wear now the shoes of your husband at the same time. You've got to wear 2 caps.
I love what Uma, sorry, I just love what Uma had just said. When my husband was sick, or rather ill, he kept on saying to me, resign emsebenzini. And I responded, I can't. Because we don't know. In as much as we are praying for your healing, yes, he would still put his laptop on top of his lap and try and send emails and try and respond to queries and whatnot. But I said to him, Joman, I'm not gonna say resign. And Uma has just highlighted something, Wuti. Your life can be altered. My life was altered. Imagine if I had resigned.
Yeah.
What was going to happen in that alteration that happened 14th of February 2022? What was going to happen to me? I'm a young widow. I've got 2 young children. My firstborn is diabetic type 1. He's on a special diet. What do I do then as an unemployed young widow?
Now, we've established bana pain. And regardless of how things went down, we are both here, right? Can you talk to us about, ma'am, when on your way to work, you used to drive by the graveyard. On your way to work.
Yeah.
On your way back from work, you used to drive by the graveyard.
Yeah.
You could not sleep in your bedroom.
I couldn't.
Because now suddenly you are triggered. Everything in this house reminds you of this person. That was his favorite couch. He used to lie here on his back on the ottoman and do this and do that. And Nonhlanhla, can you start and just talk about the emotional part of, oh my gosh, my husband is gone, but oh my gosh, my husband is gone. I don't know if you are hearing the difference. But talk to me about the things that you know that, Yazi, it's Friday night. I know that on my way back from work, usually what I have to do is get him that special ice cream that he likes on Friday on my way back from work. Talk to me about those things, those little habits that you had that you now suddenly can't continue because Ngoku.
Change.
I've highlighted that we work for the same company. Let's start there. We've buried him February. I remember I'm out of leave days. I work for a private sector. My leave has come to an end. I have to go back to work. I don't know how many times I stopped on the N1 and I wept. I don't know how many times traffic cops found me on the side of the road, weeping. And you know, asking myself, is it worth it? Must I still go to work? I don't know how many times I called one of the executives that, you know, she would pray with me sometimes in the morning. And I would say, Jennifer, I can't. I can't. And she would say, drive, come, let's pray. And I would get in and just throw myself at her. And I would just weep. Jonga, dandi lila from North Riding. Do pick up her a fidelity a midrand. Yo. Elo xesha ngamafinyila the pale the brown. I've been crying. And I had to get to the office and be professional. God, remember.
Corporate South Africa.
Corporate. I need to work. Sometimes type email. Type email yakhe. Good day, sir. Please see attached invoice. Don. Ibuye mani email bounce back ba kanene. I'm sending an email to Nozuko, you know. Why am I sending? The confusion that I went through was difficult.
Birthdays. Anniversaries.
He's born on the 6th of February. Of April, sorry. Remember now, it's the first birthday, Yaki. The first birthday. I dropped my kids off at school and kissed them, and I said to them, today is Daddy's birthday. I don't even know why I did that, but I felt like I needed to tell someone. And they're excited, you know, and I leave the crèche, I drive to the office. I called a friend that I had just met who had actually just lost his wife. He lost his wife 2021, December. And I called him. We had just met around about April, introduced by a friend, you know,
Yeah.
I called and I said, Zwelaki, it's Pilani's birthday in Nonhlanhla. I don't know what to do with myself. And I wept. I'd met him literally, but I felt good.
Yeah.
I wept. And I called a close friend of ours that I told you that is a doctor. He's a psychiatrist, Civile. I can't do this. I want to follow Pilani. I cannot do this. I'm on the N1 and I'm driving and I'm thinking, if death can come now, I'd be happy because I'd be reunited with my husband. And I wept. I remember that I took my phone and I kept on scrolling and I called his sister. And she tried to pray with me over the phone. She tried not to cry. And she wept. You know, there's a coffee spot. The garage is Mhlongo, if you know them. The new road. Mm-hmm. There's a Seattle where we buy coffee. We would usually stop there and get coffee. Every time I walked in there and I ordered coffee, I'd forgotten he's not here, and I'd order 2 coffees. And I'd remember, no man, the coffee one day is not around. So there was a time I drove to work. I had not bathed. I do not recall how I got out of bed. The only thing that I remember was that Usisi called me and said, "Uhlabile ka eng?" And I asked, "Uhlabile ka eng? What does she mean, uhlabile ka eng?" I mean, I'm at work, I'm dressed. I went to the bathroom, unaware, went back to the bedroom, took a dress, wore, took my laptop bag, got into the car, and I drove. And that is when I realized that I'm depressed. I'm not functioning anymore. And I had to now seek help.
Yeah.
I was not functioning. I don't even, you know, yes, guys, because I could not recall some of the days, how did I actually drive and get to the office. Sometimes I would drive in your fear West Park Cemetery and sit there by his grave and cry my eyes out. And sometimes I would even ask, if maybe ngakuba, how deep can I actually go? Would I be able to actually reach coffin again, just open and just ask him, did you fight enough? Was it that difficult? So let me tell you, I've been a mess. A total mess.
Shai,
Yo,
you are there at the cemetery on your way
I'm
to
there
work.
at the cemetery every day. So I drive. I don't even get out of the car. I just look at him, greet him, and then I go. Every day. It was just one day where it felt different. And I think when you are a widow or you go through that transition of change in your life, something just changes about you. And I felt the air smelled different. The sun looked different to me. I started feeling differently. I started listening to music, music and not even passing the cemetery. I changed the road. I started changing the route now every day. That, as much as I loved him, as much as I'm mourning him, but life has changed. I have to find myself. And I found myself, and I met myself for the first time, I think, when I stopped. Because in all those journeys when I went, sometimes I would find people taking selfies at his grave. So you cannot, I'm telling you. So
does his tombstone have a picture?
Yeah. Yes.
So what? We're here.
So remember the where they are buried, all these celebrities. So,
yes.
So when people go to West Park and they just drive there, they see them. They are in the same line,
yes.
right? So I go there. Normally, I don't even know what to say to him, right? I don't know what to say. If I get out and I'm with my kids, they are the ones talking. I don't know what to say. So sometimes I would go there and, selfies, it's selfies. And I guess it's not only him, because there are so many celebrities.
Yeah.
And I got to an understanding that, Mmasechaba, you were married to a people's person. He will continue to be a people's person, even beyond. So just accept it. And
Mama,
then that's it.
I'm going to need you to speak to this young woman.
Yeah.
This young woman next to you.
This young woman.
And those young women over there.
Yes.
I need you. You spoke about finding a way to live after your partner has gone. Because we especially our generation, Tina Nonhlanhla, I think Mama are better than us. Tina, we want to be passenger princesses. We want to be taken care of. We want to obey to. I don't know when my car license has to be renewed. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's very big in our generation where we're so dependent. And this is not to say we shouldn't depend on our partners. This is not to talk about that. But talk to us about striking that balance.
Yeah.
I love you. We do things together. But God forbid, should something happen, I'm self-sufficient, if that's even a thing.
So I think besides being a widow, it's been my struggle for years about my own identity. That, marriage swallows. It swallows you. You forget who you are. Once you are married, you just forget who you are. When I said, I suddenly smelled the air different. And that's when I met the Mmasechaba that I left 40 years ago. That's when I met myself again for the first time. And it suddenly says to you, you buried yourself in this marriage. And marriage is good. Marriage is good. But you buried yourself. Now you suddenly don't even remember the things that you used to like. And I know I loved music a lot. And I know I loved worshiping. I know. And then when suddenly these things start hitting me, I'm like, this is the girl I forgot about. Your purpose in life. There is no one who was born without a purpose. No one. And unfortunately, our marriages swallows us. We're supposed to change their names. And I always talk about how, which is something that a lot of women, young women, don't want to hear from me, that it is so good to be married and changing your surname. And I think when I listen to those guys interviewing them and talking about how they killed their wives and how they were entitled, it really spoke to me and said, are we like cars as women? Are we? You know, that lobola is an ownership. It's like you get into a dealer, you buy a car, you do change of ownership. So you change everything about yourself, even your purpose. Sure. That's how marriage swallows. And it takes away your independence. Because once you change the surname or you change everything, you have to listen to this man. You don't go to this church. You don't go to this. You stop with these friends. They are jealous. They are not married. You cannot continue with these people. If I can find a liberated man who will not make you to cut ties with who you are, cut ties with your friends that you grew up with, people that you grew up with. It's so rare that you find people like that. And that's why women lose themselves. Because you are scared to make this man unhappy, you know. So when I met myself, I then realized it had to go through that pain to be able to find myself again, to meet myself again, and being able to speak my mind and open up and say, this is wrong. And I'm not saying people shouldn't change their names. I'm not saying people shouldn't pay lobola, you know. And it's one thing that I said to my husband, I think a few years ago, that if I knew what I know now, I would not have changed my surname. If I knew what I know now, I would not have allowed him to pay lobola for me. Because it suddenly made me feel like an object. Suddenly, at the time. You know. And it's not nice to be treated like one. Hence the abuse of women and also other men that are abused is because they are objects. People own them. So if you don't gather yourself as a married woman, young or old or anything, and not have the skill in case something happens tomorrow, you are in trouble. A lot of women that I have in Widows Club are not working. They are forever victims. And I said, your husband is not coming back. Listen, and the kids want food. It's either you start with a garden in the house, one garden, one house, one garden, one house. Do that. Have food. And eventually, you might end up having a farm and selling these vegetables.
Sure.
Do something about your life.
Now, ladies, as we wrap it up, this is the last question. Obviously, none of us can even begin to imagine what you guys are going through. Do you still believe in love? Would you still... Mama says, knowing what she knows now, she wouldn't change her same name. Knowing what you know now, and at the stage where we're at now, would you still want to get married again?
You know,
let's start with a young man, with a young lady here.
It's so
before Shai
funny. It's so funny. This is, I don't know whether it's the universe that's asking me this question, but I think this is the third week I'm asked, do I believe in love again? Do I want to get married again? And a question that I'm always asked, why do you still have your ring on? You know.
It's still early. It's
I
still
don't even wanna put it as still early. Have I lost faith in love? No. Listen, my husband loved me, and loudly so. You know, loudly so. Do I wanna remarry? It is not something that is giving me sleepless night. If you had met me when I was 26 or 25, I wanted to get married. I wanted to have children. Now I'm at a part where I'm a mom. Langalibalele and Pilangezwi come first. You know. What is my ultimate goal now? To give these kids a comfortable home. To make sure that mommy comes back home at the end of the day. You know, to comfort them, to give them all the love that they need. I've taken up a role of uba umama and uba ubaba. Can I be ubaba? No, I can't. Because I can only play one gender, which is a woman, and be a mother. should love come, I am looking at it because may it find me healed, so that I do not bleed on this person. Will I ever forget Upilani Mhlongo? I'll never forget him. I mean, he gave me the most handsome boys. I'm not about to very handsome. And more than anything, he is one gentleman that came into my life and made me believe in love, because when he met me, I had come from a very painful past that one day I'll find a platform to talk about. But he had found me broken. And I'm not trying to say, Gibe molded by Indota, but I'm trying to say, he came in and he put in that puzzle that had been broken. And he said, listen, and I'll help you, build yourself. And listen, when my husband met me, I could not even drive. But he was like, no, drive. Sometimes you're going to drop me off at work and whatnot. And I appreciate that, And also, he always said to me, you must learn to stand up for yourself. Because I had come from an environment whereby I had worked in spaces whereby file and you just pick them up and you walk out. It's like, no, I'm not going to have such a woman, in my life. You're going to fight back for yourself, But should love come, I'm waiting for it. And I am trying to fix Nonhlanhla. I'm trying to get Nonhlanhla healed more than anything. I'm 35 this year. I don't want to write off and say, I'm from Pinning Shate, I'm from Indo any tanda, mama, I highlighted. Yes, bo. I'm calling you, I can't con. Abang, so you don't good. Mhlongo. She just no, guys. Man more than anything. I when it comes to Ilobola, I want us to talk about that.
Yes, please.
Into my show, because a lot of young men think we're an object. I've got a friend who believes you understand. And I've met a lot of them. You understand? Object. Umshada ngoba umthanda ngoba wazi ukuthi lo muntu is going to fit into your life nakhe an empire or whatever. You understand? You ngithi I'm going to stick on should uthando come ngilibheke ngokuthi lingifice ngipholile, because that is what I'm praying for right now. Ukuthi uNkulunkulu yes kubhlungu ngishonelwe. I'm still trying to figure out this single motherhood. I'm still trying to figure out my life as uNonhlanhla alone. You understand? I'm still trying. I'm literally at a phase of redesigning impilo engiyifunayo khona manje. I'm redesigning it. Angibhekanga ukuthi ubaba uSibani uyazi uzongishada. Cha. Ngibheke manje the goal yokuthi amadodana wami have to be in a comfortable home. You understand? And I'm looking at my career as well, may it grow and flourish the way ngifuna ukuthi ibe ngakhona. Kodwa I'm not writing it off ukuthi uthando angisakholelwa kulo. I still believe in it because ngangihlele emshadweni olunothando.
Mama, you want me to answer that too?
Yeah, I want you to answer. You're spring chicken.
So
also Baby Winans is coming to the country in December.
Please, I love that man. But he looks like Patrick these days with grey hair. I'm like, just this man.
He's coming back in the form of Baby Winans.
Yeah, no.
He won't let you rest.
So I'm not sure, I'm not sure if I'm ready for anything else. I'm really not. I don't even think about it because my focus is just healing people and finding peace in this journey, and making sure that my kids are okay. In terms of love, I know Ntwana would come and say, for this man. I'm joking. But love is beautiful, as I said. I don't know if I'll be able to be someone's girlfriend at this age. It's not an age of being a girlfriend. And I don't know how dating happens these days.
Do you swipe left
because
or right?
I never dated.
Do you swipe left or right?
So I don't know how that is done. My life was being a wife, so it means if I start something, I must start with this dating story and I don't understand it, I don't know it. So if that happens, you will know. Your newspapers will tell you. But I'm not there. It's not something that I think of. It's the focus of my studies and all of that, and the widows, and trying to establish certain things, and also trying to build his Kulumandota, trying to put some ideas on Kopano to carry through, to make sure that everything that he worked for doesn't just die because he's gone. At the moment, I'm not on the market.
She's not on the market.
I'm not on the market.
Ladies,
it's good
thank
actually
you.
to be free from the stresses of the world.
Ne?
Yeah.
Ladies, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for opening up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being so vulnerable. Thank you so much for being so honest about something so painful and sharing something so deep and personal to you. We truly, truly appreciate it. So thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, man. Until next time, right here on SNL 24. Bye-bye, Standwa.